Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Alberto and welcome live from the Porada showroom in London here at Chelsea Harbour. This last webinar for the 2020 edition, then we will see you again, of course, in the new year. Today we will talk about working with wood. We will talk about the wood, we will talk about all the different distinctions that the nature has for the wood, and we will look at the many different types of wood that we can find. So, for example, solid wood, veneer, plywood, and many other ones. The presentation will take about 30 to 40 minutes, and then in the end we'll have a few minutes for the questions. So feel free to type your questions on the chat on the side of the screen, and in the end of the presentation I'll be happy to reply. I would like to say thanks to the BIID, British Institute of Interior Designs, that gives us the possibility of running this talk today. So let's start. Let's start from the very first distinction that the nature has for the wood. Softwood and hardwood. Softwood are the woods that are, of course, as the word says, softer. We can talk about pine, larch, fir tree. These are softer. They are mostly conifers, generally needle-leaved, and usually they are evergreen, with some exemptions. Then we have the hardwood. Hardwood is comprehensive, for example, of walnut, ashwood, oak. We'll see later in more details. Generally, they are broadleaf, deciduous trees, so they lose the leaves during the winter season, and in this case the wood is usually denser because it's growing more slowly. Depending on the type of wood, this can be sourced from all over the world. Larger company tends to own their own forest for having a better control of the availability of the wood and working the wood in a more sustainable way. Consider that sustainability, especially for companies that works with wood, is a very important topic. The majority of the wood that is used for the furniture industry, especially the walnut, is grown in Canada. Canada has a very important replantation scheme of 1-to-1. Basically, for every tree that is cut, there is another tree that is replanted into the forest. And this is made in a completely natural way. Basically, every 20 to 30 square meters, when the forest is cut, one tree is left alone, so that with the wind all the seeds can be deposited on the soil, and with the help of sunshine, water, the forest will regenerate naturally. This is something that helps really a lot the nature to be regenerated in a natural way. Let's have a look now at the very first step that we have in the forest, that is the trunks selection. In the forest we need to select the best trunks to be used for the furniture industry. There are many different reasons why the trunks can be rejected. They can be crooked, they can be attacked from parasites, they can have some cracks, sometimes they can even be too big, sometimes too small. And so this is a filtering of all the woods, and because a lower quantity is then exported, you can understand that this is something that increases the cost of the wood, and so we are starting an increase of the price of the final products. Wood stocking. Once the wood has been selected, is then brought to the factories where it is processed. But there is a very first step that we need to run, is the drying process of the wood. We take the wood under outdoor covered areas, so that staying outside for about 1 year, the wood is then dry and ready to be used. We need to move the wood a little bit around and rotate it, so that the wood can be taken dry all over the pieces of wood. Then this is ready to be processed. But if we want to have another step before, this is very important. We need to have a very good control of the humidity if we are producing furniture. The humidity can be a very big problem in the furniture industry because the wood, we need to remember, is a live material. Is a material that can shrink, it can suffer attacks from parasites, can have many different problems. And having a controlled humidity, we discovered it to be between 12 to 16% is the best way to fight against this problem. Basically, we put the wood inside these these chambers that you can see in this picture, and decreasing the pressure, these chambers helps to decrease the humidity to a controlled state. This is because we need to export the wood all over the world. We can export it to warm countries, to colder countries, to more humid countries, and to drier countries. And this is something that is very, very important because having the average of the humidity around these values is really helpful for having a product that is perfect all over the world. Solid wood production. Of course, in the end of the stocking and the first filtering part of the wood is stocked and ready to be processed. We can then draw all the shapes, we can start carving the frames, waiting to be assembled for the production of the final products. Sometimes we can see, for example, the frames that are stocked and ready to be assembled. Here in the picture that you can see few examples of products made in solid wood and frames ready to be stocked and ready to be, of course, assembled. A very important problem that the wood can have are defects. Defects are problems that may appear even during the wood processing, even in the end of the production process. Defects like, for example, a knot that you can see in this picture is something that creates an issue because we need to reject this part, and the rejection of a part, as you can understand, of course, will increase the cost of the items and the final price of each product. Usually all the products are condition checked before being packed and shipped to the clients all over the world. Now we can have a look at the different types of wood in furniture. We can start from the first one, is the beech wood. The beech wood is a wood that is very easy to cut, is very light, and it has also a very light color. Can be bent with the steam and usually is used for particle boards. As you can see in this picture, the grain of this wood is not very interesting. It's quite plain. It doesn't show a lot the differences between veins and the main frame of the wood. So this makes of this wood a wood that can be perfect for the use of particle boards, but not very much for the furniture industry and for the production of solid wood. Oak wood is a wood that has definitely a more interesting grain, with a net distinction between veins and the main frame of the wood. Is a wood that is not very easy to be processed, is used for floors, it has a rough surface, and is also subject to structural movement. A very similar wood that we can find in nature is ash wood. Is considered a very high quality wood. It has this very light color, it has a rough surface, and it has the veins more visible. Is quite similar to the oak, but is also environmentally sound because it grows very quickly. Is a wood that is very light, but in the same time is also resistant. The fact that is very light in the color makes it perfect for the design industry, because in the natural way, as you can see here in this picture, we can see that in the natural way is very light, and then we can stain it in many different shades. This is something that is helping a lot in the design process when we are going to use it for the design purpose. Cherry wood is a wood that is quite old-fashioned, probably because of the dark orange color that it has, but is a very heavy and strong wood, is very easy to be processed again, and with this wood we can obtain smooth surfaces. Another very important wood that we can remember is the walnut. It's considered one of the most prestigious wood. It has this dark brown color and this soft shape and these softer veins that makes it absolutely beautiful. It's a wood that is very strong, is very solid, is very dense, and is very resistant. With this wood, again, we can obtain smooth surfaces, and it is a very tactile wood that is perfect for the furniture production. Another wood that we can remember is ebony, for example. Is a very heavy and strong wood. As you can see in this picture, it has this very dark black-brown color. And we can find in nature many different species of ebony wood. It is finely textured and has a mirror finish when it's polished, so we can have very easily a shiny version of this wood. It can also be classified as ornamental wood. Now let's have a look at the different wood types that we can find in the furniture and design and architecture industry. First one is solid wood. Of course, if you will ask the 99% of your clients what is the best quality of wood, they will reply solid wood. Solid wood, what is? Let's say that solid wood is a portion of wood that comes directly from the trunk. It's commonly considered the highest quality because it's less industrially processed. It has this natural grain, but in the same time has a random grain. So it's a grain that we cannot decide. We cannot decide which grain we are going to show on a piece of solid wood. Is perfect, but can have some defects as well. For example, is more subject to structural movement, so we need to be very careful when we process the wood. Again, like we said before, the control of the humidity is one of the most important things in the case of the solid wood. It comes also in limited sizes because it comes directly from the trunks. Trunks are usually 40, 50, 60 centimeters in diameter, and when we need to obtain big, large surfaces, the only thing to do is to merge more items together. By doing that, we will have a slatted effect, as you can see in this picture. That can be a beauty, of course, because it can show many different parts of wood, but sometimes can be also a limit, because we will have this sort of slatted effect that creates this sort of repetition. Another wood that we can consider is plywood. What is plywood? Plywood is usually used for core panels like flat surfaces or even curved surfaces that then are covered with veneer. We will see in a few minutes what a veneer is. Plywood is a material composed of many thin layers of wood, all glued together, rotated at 90 degrees to one another. It is an engineered wood that has this cross-grained effect, basically with these thin layers of solid wood. Having them cross-grained helps a lot because the wood is composed of fibers. The fibers are running all along the trees from the base to the top of the plant. And when we slice to create the plywood, we have one single slice with the fibers parallel through themselves. And by having this cross-grained effect, if we are going, for example, to nail in a corner, we have a board that is resistant in all the directions, so it doesn't crack, and makes of this board a very high quality product. Then of course we can have many different types of plywood. We can have a lower quality plywood depending of course on which type of wood we are using and the amount of glue, or we can have also higher quality of plywood that are maybe stronger and more resistant to deformation. Better quality of plywood are used for floors, for wall structures, and they are better wear resistant. They are lighter than the MDF. Particle board. Particle board is considered like the opposite of the plywood in terms of quality. It's not always considered the best quality. What is particle board? The particle board is manufactured from wood chips, sawmill, shavings, and a synthetic resin. It is an engineered wood. It has a very low cost, hence why it's considered a lower quality. It's very light and it is available in many different densities and is called low density fiberboard, LDF. But here again we can have different qualities also of particle board. Sometimes we can have very high quality of particle board because it has a very important advantage, the fact that it is very light. So if we need to create, for example, a shelving unit where the shelves need to be very light, or if we are working with a flat surface that cannot be so heavy, this is the perfect material. A good quality particle board is composed of less formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is a dangerous material that is contained into the glues, and the lower quantity the wood has, the better it is in this case. A particle board in high quality is more dense in the exterior part and in the edges, for example. It has a less contamination from chemical products and can be also made with sustainable and controlled wastes. A high quality of particle board is made using 100%, for example, poplar wood. Another type of wood very important in the furniture industry and architecture is MDF, medium density fiberboard. It is engineered with wood fibers. Is very similar to the first one, to the particle board, except that the particle board is made with wastes, this one is made with fibers. Fibers mixed with, combined with wax and resin. Is another engineered wood, is stronger and denser than particle board, but important, is very heavy. So if we need to use it in surfaces like flat surfaces, we need to use it where we can afford an important weight because it's very dense. Is very important also the fact that can be shaped. We can see it mainly in flat boards, but we will see later that because it can be shaped, then when we are going to apply the veneer on top of it, we can create also different three-dimensional shapes on wall units or on many different products. Again, here we have higher qualities of MDF. A higher quality, for example, is the green MDF that is more resistant to the humid places. Is used for bathroom and kitchen areas. It's called green MDF because it has additives that are moisture resistant that are colored in green. We can also have it in a sustainable way when we use particular woods like eucalypt or tropical woods that contains more oil and helps us to use less glue. Now, veneer. What is veneer? Veneer is a slice of wood applied on panels or board. It's a very subtle slice, as you can see in this picture. It is an engineered wood. It's used for floors and for furniture. It is applied with glue and high pressure to core panels and can show different types of grain depending on how it is sliced. And this is something that is really helpful, especially in our industry, in the design. We can have a look here in the slide, for example, to three different cutting methods to produce veneer. Different slicing process creates various type of grain depending also from the wood used, of course. The first one that we can see on the left is the rotation. We take the trunk, we rotate it with a blade, and we create a subtle sheet of veneer. As you can see in the first picture, the grain is not very interesting, however, because it doesn't show a lot the veins, it doesn't show a lot a beautiful pattern, it's quite plain and less interesting. It's the most cost effective because we don't waste wood, but of course is not maybe the most beautiful one. Crown cut is the one that we can see in the center, create this sort of flamed effect. We just need to slice the log perpendicular, a half of it, and we will show this kind of grain that you can see in this picture. Rift cut is taken using only a quarter of the log, and rotating slightly the blade, we can catch more veins and we will have this very beautiful striped effect. Let's have a look at few examples on how to use veneer. This one is for example, a picture of the veneer showing a flamed effect made with the crown cut. As you can see in these doors, in this picture, we can see this beautiful effect given from the veins of the wood. Another one made with the rift cut is with this cross grain panel. This one was a client of us that requested us to produce a kitchen, and he liked this sort of cross-grained effect with the veneer. This is a result that we can achieve only using the veneer. Think about this kitchen made in solid wood. It wasn't a better or a lower quality. It was absolutely different because with the solid wood we would have had a slatted effect, so we would have lost the beauty of the highlighting of the vein that we can see here. So when is the best quality? The best quality is when we use the right method for the right purpose. For example, have a look at this walk-in closet. You can see that the panels, the front and the back panels are made with veneer in MDF with the veneer on top of it, showing the beauty of the grain of the wood, showing a very nice difference between the veins, and the handles, the edges of the frames are made in solid wood. So this one is the best combination to use the best material for the best purpose. Veneer can be also completely different. For example, multilaminar veneer is a wood made of many different layers of wood, creating a man-made log and then sliced to create a patterned veneer, as you can see in this picture. This is a geometric shape that highlights the beauty of the wood. Again, another example of something that we cannot create using only solid wood. Veneer can also be used in an innovative way, together with melamine resins and MDF that can be shaped, as we have seen before. We can compose these embossed panels that create, for example, this boiserie that creates this waved effect in a three-dimensional texture. So these are many of the examples that we can obtain, of products that we can obtain using veneer. Stains and lacquers. How we can improve the wood from its natural way to a more colored texture to make it perfect for the furniture industry and maybe for the design, of course. A stain is a water-based type of paint that is slightly absorbed from the wood. Stain is used on both solid wood and veneer. It doesn't create a coat and is considered transparent because shows the wood, the grain of the wood underneath. It can have different tones of color, as you can see in this picture, where we can have a sort of gray shade, very dark brown, or a Wenger stain like a very nearly black color. While A lacquer is a paint that creates a proper coat and is available in different colors. Depending on the wood that we use underneath and the thickness, of course, of the lacquer, we can create different effects. The two most common that we can find are the closed pore or the open pore effect. Closed pore is a completely quite plastic effect where we don't see at all the veins of the wood. Open pore effect shows the beauty of the vein underneath the lacquer. As you can see here in this picture, you can see more the veins and the color that enter into the veins. Of course, in this case, we need to use a rougher wood that has the veins more visible and a texture that is rougher. How to use veins and lacquer and stains of the wood, how to show the beauty of the grain. It depends, of course, on what the design requires. As you can see in these pictures, for example, in the first pictures on your left, you can see that this project had already a lot of wood. So we had a wooden floor, we had a wooden table, and so the use of the lacquer was really helpful to show a material that is beautiful, but in a different way, that is not the natural way. Or, as you can see in the products on the right, you can mix wood together with lacquer that can be shiny, can be matte, or can be made in different types of shades. So this is the end of the presentation. I hope that this one was very interesting for you, that gave you a lot of insights on how to use the wood, that we discovered that the solid wood is not always the best solution. Sometimes the veneer is a great help. So thank you very much for staying here. Thank you very much for following the presentation. Now we have a 3 minutes video, and then you have time for, of course, discuss. Feel free to type your question if you have it in the chat, and I'll be happy to reply after this video. So the first question is from Simo. She's asking, is Porada environmentally friendly? I would say yes. As I explained in the beginning of this presentation, Porada owns its own forest. We have a forest in France where we grow our trees. And this gives a great help in the production and in the availability of the wood. We can control in a more sustainable way how the wood is sourced, what we do with the wood that we don't use, because as I explained in the beginning, we need to filter, we need to have a control of the wood that needs to be used for the furniture industry. And the second question is from Deborah Foresti. Thank you very much for your question. What does Porada do with the pieces that have been rejected? Is there a way of using it for something else? Again, the pieces can be rejected because of defects, can be rejected because of defects after the production or even in the forest. The best way is, for example, to use these pieces, to use this wood for, let's say, particle board, or in our factory, for example, we have a controlled heating system that is made with the wastes of the processing of all the woods. So with all the wood carvings and all the pieces that are rejected from the working of the wood. Hannah, when did walnut start becoming very popular? Walnut has been popular forever, from I think from the end of the Middle Age, when the technology to cut the wood started. Then the beauty of this material is that is not a fashion material. Is a wood that, thanks also to the color that it has. We talked about the cherry wood previously. Cherry wood is a wood that is not fashion anymore because of this dark orange color. It is a very particular color. Thanks to the fact that walnut has a dark brown color, is more useful to be used always. Grant, how important is having the right humidity percentage in the wood before transforming it into a piece of furniture? This is very important, and I think is the base of the good furniture production. The control of the humidity makes the wood a perfect material to be used for the furniture industry and to last for many, many years. If we don't have a good control of the humidity, good wood can be attacked from parasites. We can have so many issues during the years. If the wood is too dry, for example, it can break, it can be too light, it can become too light and so not strong enough, it can be not resistant, it can be attacked from the humidity that is in the environment and so attacked from parasites and have many different issues. When is better to use veneer and when solid wood? Thank you, Susanna. Veneer is, the right answer, I would say, is depend, because it depends on what you need to do with the wood. If you need to create a large surface like a tabletop or a boiserie, a big wall system, veneer probably is the best. First of all, because you can control the grain that the wood will have. And second, we can avoid all the different issues that the solid wood can have. Wood can shrink, can expand, can move during the time, and with the veneer we can better control these issues. Can you please make an example of your best product in solid wood and in veneer? Thanks again, Grant. I would say a good example can be, for example, this trolley. This trolley has the top in the multilaminar veneer and the frame in solid wood. So when we have a flat surface or something where we want to show a particular grain, like in this case, this more technological material, definitely the veneer is the best answer. The frame in solid wood makes it more natural, because of course we need to remember that solid wood is very important because it's more natural, it's less industrially processed. and so you can think is also more beautiful. So the frame in a solid wood is probably the best option. Sorry, thank you very much, because I can see there are so many questions. I hope I am answering to all the questions. Susanna, is veneer considered a very high quality finish like solid wood? Yes, there are two different things. If you consider a high quality, a more natural finish, of course the solid wood is best because it's less industrially processed. But if we consider in high quality the durability, the choice of the grain, probably veneer is the best option. As we have seen in the picture before of the walk-in closet, the best is the combination of both. The combination where maybe in the edges, like here, we have a solid wood, and on the flat surfaces, a top, a back panel, a side panel, we have a veneer. Faye is asking, what is the best way to prevent UV damage, color fade into veneer and solid wood? Of course, this again depends on the country, depends on the wood that we are using. If we are using, for example, a wood in a stained finish, like a mocha stain, like a wenge stain, a very dark stain, because the stain contains additives, this is more resistant to the sunlight. If we are using the wood in a natural way, of course, maybe not in the UK, but maybe in warmer countries with more sunshine, we can have a difference in tone. Consider that this one is not a defect of the wood. It can be considered also a beauty. We explained that the wood is a live material, and the fact that with the time and the light it changed also the color, it can be a positive thing. So of course, if we don't want the wood to change too much the color in a natural finish, the best way is to avoid to leave it in front of the sunshine so that it cannot be affected. Thank you very much. Dimitri, which material is more resistant, practical of all types of wood used? Plywood is the most resistant if we need to, for example, create a shelving unit. The core panels made in plywood are the most resistant ones. Also, particle board is very resistant and has the advantage of being very, very light. MDF again is resistant. Solid wood, it is very resistant, it's very strong. We need to be very careful because again, because it's less industrially processed, only if there is a particular attention in the production of solid wood, we can obtain a very high quality wood. Is mahogany still used in furniture making? Yes. It was used many years ago and now it's being used again. The beauty of mahogany, first of all, is that it has this very dark color, and also the fact that we can make it shiny when we work on it. So yes, it's still very used. I don't see other questions. Sorry if I didn't reply correctly to all the questions that you made. So yes, thank you very much. I'm really happy that you engaged a lot with this presentation. I can see a lot of questions, so this means that it was really interesting for you. As I said in the very beginning, this one was the last presentation of the 2020. We'll see you again in the 2021, hopefully also live from this showroom where we usually do this presentation. Let me just say thanks again to all the Porada staff, of course, and to the BIID, so the British Institute of Interior Design, that makes this presentation available for everyone. So thank you very much again and have a nice day. Thanks. Bye-bye.